Let's move it on. And up next, did you
Woo!
catch that? And a lot of
Woo.
you all probably didn't catch that because the Halo, and there's other news that's eclipsing this, but hey, we
Yeah.
here for the bullshit. And I'm gonna let you all know. Outer Worlds 2, to me, is a nice, decent game. And that's probably me being biased because unlike the first one, you can play in third person. And I love my third person game. That's just my opinion. But the backlash going on this game was number one. This
It's
was the game
$80. Oh.
Microsoft wanted to charge you $80. And that's just how crazy this is. My co-host knew that that's what I was going to start off with because she doesn't have my notes. She ain't got my notes, so she already knew that
Look, I saw that
this was the number
$80.
one thing.
I said, nah.
This was the game that Microsoft wanted you to spend $80 on.
Get out of
And
here.
it didn't happen then. It ain't happening now. They walked it back and they made it 70, but that was one issue. Because of that, people were deterred and didn't want to grab the game. Pre-orders were low. So Microsoft walked it back and said, hey, we're sorry. We won't do that again.
We were bad.
I promise. We'll get better. That's issue one. Issue two, and this was a fear FTC had. I don't know if this is true legit or if it's just, bad optimization. But the reports are coming in saying that the game runs worse on PlayStation than it does on Xbox. And
Oh,
this is what the
yeah, yeah.
FTC was fearing that Microsoft would do, gobbling up all these companies, is that they would make the games better for their platform and
Mhm.
lesser on others to drive people to their ecosystem. But they're trying. They say on PS it runs real bad on PS5 Pro. Like it is
That that
optimized
is that is so
more
crazy. How is the Pro the machine that
running it
is
worse than the base.
yeah,
Yes.
like that's why
Yeah.
people hey, yeah, listen, sign the sign-in log if you've spent that $800 on that PS5 Pro, welcome to the program. We're here to support you and get you through this troubled time cuz what
That
the
750
fuck?
was worth it. The next issue, this is from the critics. This is just me
Hmm.
reporting.
Hmm.
This from the critics that people feel that Outer Worlds 2 is a disappointment as far as creativity,
Oh yeah, yeah.
innovation, and as far as the whole corporate thing, takeover, etc. It's like, but you guys are owned by Microsoft. Are you serious? Now, I'll go into
Yeah.
further breakdown. The reason people felt this way is the Outer Worlds 1 was accepted by people because Obsidian, independent developer, they worked on a shoestring budget. So it was a nice, small, competent title. And it was like, okay, this was nice. They're making it do, like a single mother making ends meet with two jobs. They're making it work. But once Obsidian was purchased by with their big dick money, and I believe they even said it too that Microsoft's with their endless resources, that's corporate slang for money. I don't know why they use that word, but when you hear a company talking about, oh yeah, our company does use X amount of resources, they're saying money. I just don't know why they won't say that. But they said Microsoft's endless money and endless resources allow us to make the games we want. So Outer Worlds 2, people just expected more.
Mhm.
You were able to pump out Grounded, Avowed, Grounded 2, and now this. Where did that endless resources go? Because to a lot of people, they felt it's too safe. It's too on the nose. It's giving struggling studio vibes, and you all ain't struggling.
Far
You
from
all
it,
are not
actually.
Larian Studios. You're not Team Cherry. You're none of the small guys. You are owned by Microsoft, the king of Windows and Office 360, Microsoft Teams and Copilot. And I'm going to say it one more time, $4 trillion. So to critics and to some fans, they feel this should have been more, but yet they played it safe. And I can see how they would get that, but I feel this game did do more than the previous game, but maybe it just wasn't what people expected. I keep talking about the consumers and expectations, especially when these games take so long to make.
Mhm. Mhm.
And when you have smaller teams, again, the team that made Claire Obscure, they made that game on a shoestring budget. It came out earlier in the year and people are still talking about it. They didn't have a major giant corporation funding them. So when you have companies like Obsidian and they put out slop, they put out bad optimization, writing is questionable, etc. It brings attention to you because it's like, how were you not able to get this done, Phil? You have the money. You had the time. Where's the prestige?
I think that's too that feeds into consumers' expectation when you do get some money behind you. They have a certain thought process. Okay, that means all the issues before not gonna be issues going forward, and we should still get a more leaps between the sequel and the original. Like there should be more innovation. There should be more like aspects of the game that's far more approved now because you got money. And sometimes, I feel like we blame these studios that are under Microsoft because of X, Y, and Z. I think we gotta question when these studios release these products and they're not better. Did they really get access to unlimited funds? I'm beginning to question that because too many times has Microsoft bought a studio and then the game they put out after being purchased is slop. I'm starting to question if they actually do get access to funds and good writers, good producers. Like, is Microsoft really putting money behind the next product that the studios release? Because this has happened too many times. This has happened too many times with studios in Microsoft that they purchased. And fool me once, you fool me can't get fooled again. And this is like the sixth time that Microsoft has done this with the studio. And I'm just starting to question if they actually are giving these studios what they need to make the leaps and bounds that consumers are expecting because they're not meeting expectations, and it's damaging the brand. All this negativities of this game has damaged Outer Worlds outlook with the consumer feel cheated, the whole priceless thing, and then they walked it back. It's just real scummy. And so now I have to wonder, and that's the price you pay when you sell your company to someone like Microsoft. We discussed this in the past. Hey, if you can pay your bills and pay your people, just keep your control. Don't get bought. Don't take the check from Microsoft because it's just not working out for anybody that's been. But there's the who's another one that dang, what's that one game that we like? I can't even remember now. But it's happened more than once, more than twice. Like now I'm starting to be like, we gotta temper our expectations for some of these studios now. Cause they're not making leaps. And you would think 5 years you doing something immaculate, but I guess I just don't know why it's taking 5 years to put out some of these games. I just don't see the value.
I 100% agree. And to answer your question, they are not getting the resources and just
But
everything
see,
that you were saying.
why purchase them if you're not gonna give them what they need to excel? Like you're that like
So go ahead, go ahead.
no, it's just like why buy a product that you're gonna kill? Literally, you're gonna unalive a product because you won't support them. That's like having a child and not wanting to raise your child, and then be surprised when your child is in a bunch of bad crap. Why? You didn't raise them. You didn't put any effort, no emotion, no love. Like, goddamn, what you expect for the child to turn into? The president? No. Well, our president's crazy. But you know what I'm saying? Like you can't expect these studios to do well after you purchase them and you don't give them no love. It don't make no sense.
It doesn't. So it has come out that when Microsoft purchased these teams, they are hands off. They allow them to operate in complete autonomy, which I have never fully believed that. I think that is complete horseshit because like how are you doing that? There's a point in you buying them and you're just gonna let them just do whatever they want. That's one issue. Not to go off topic, but there was recently news from Undead Labs, who is another studio Microsoft has purchased, and according to them, there is a very convoluted, complex process for how Microsoft does feedback and dishing out of resources, management, and whatever the fuck else they do over there.
Oh Lord.
And I said this before, they couldn't handle and mismanage their own studios from the beginning. You bought all these new companies. How are you going to manage those when you were doing a piss poor job managing the first one? Not to mention, two, layoffs. Microsoft has laid off. I believe the tally is up to 15,000 from starting last year, if I remember correctly. It has been reported, they said many times, there is a very, very bad culture of mismanagement from Microsoft with these studios. There's a very bad lack of conversation of, hey, we need this. Can we help here? I give Obsidian a little bit of, I'm going to say leeway, but some grace because they seem to be one of the few studios that is pumping out content or something from their purchase because majority of everyone that Microsoft has purchased, you have not seen the fruits of that labor. They purchased Undead Labs in 2018. In 2020, they put out a trailer for State of Decay. It's 2 years after the game came out. It has now been 5 years since that trailer, and there's been no game. It is reported that State of Decay 3 will come out in 2027. So why show the trailer and then the release is 7 years apart, but you're owned by a company with endless resources. So what are you all doing?
I don't know, but it ain't
Even
working.
even Starfield, and I'm gonna make sure I get this out, just like my Breath of the Wild. I'm gonna get this out right now. Starfield was being worked on before Microsoft bought them. You Xbox fucks. I'm gonna get this out here because you all paint the wrong narrative. Microsoft bought Bethesda to keep Starfield off of PlayStation, even though it's now coming but Microsoft had nothing to do with Starfield. They did not cultivate, they did not help them, they did not nurture it. That was something Bethesda was doing on their own. And Microsoft swooped in and was like, hey, you want some money? We got money. We don't make great games. We just buy the companies that make great games. And that's what happened. They bought them and then they said, hey, you know what? Starfield is only on Xbox. And at first, Bethesda rolled with it because like, all right, well, you the man. And then they bought Activision, was like, hey, all y'all stuff, it goes everywhere. Because there was an issue with that as well. There was talks of, and Pete Hines, the former marketing person for Bethesda, he has recently quit after all this shit with Microsoft. Bethesda felt, how is it that Activision shit goes to PlayStation and everywhere else, but our games got to come just to you? Microsoft is mismanaging these studios very poorly. There are lots of reports and anonymous developers coming in, ex-employees, etc., really breaking down every now and then a little glimpse behind the curtain that they have all that money, but it ain't being handled to them. There was an old developer that came out saying the reason Xbox has been around so long is that Microsoft just didn't give two shits about what Xbox did, because as I reported before, they only generate 6 to 8% of Microsoft's overall revenue, and they didn't make a significant splash. They just was those nerds in the corner over there. That's pretty much how it was. When they went on their acquisition spree and they started spending money, and then they started spending too much money, and Big Daddy Microsoft looked at the books like, hey, I'm some billions shorter. Oh yeah, Xbox bought some shit. Xbox? We don't make a lot of money. Why are they spending money? Hey, what y'all doing over there? Now Microsoft cares. Now Microsoft has a say and a footing in what is going on because you put too much attention on you all selves. Obsidian used to be looked at as the darling RPG maker because they are, majority of them, if I remember correctly, are made up of staff from Black Isle Studios, and that is the company that originally made the Fallout games before it was sold to Bethesda. That's a little weird that Microsoft owns both of them now, but and they have made a name for themselves as being RPG makers. You want to keep it a buck, keep it short. Microsoft is turning into the new EA, but instead of them closing motherfuckers and shutting them down and throwing them away, just buying up shit, gobbling up, and then like, hey, we need you to make this shit for Game Pass. And this is my last point I'll make. That's another thing someone theorized on why The Outer Worlds 2 and why Obsidian has been able to pump out so many games so much quicker than everybody else is because due to the nature of why they were purchased, they are to fuel and feed the Game Pass beast. The only way you could keep someone subscribed to Game Pass besides them forgetting they have it, you need a steady stream of newer content put into it that they can't quote unquote get anywhere else. Now, you're saying, oh, well, Infamous, they can get it somewhere else. Yes, that's true. But when we got to this topic, what did I say? On PlayStation, it runs terrible. Those reports aren't coming in that it runs bad on Xbox. I've played 15 hours of it, and I've had no issue with how it runs at all, especially with that fucking quick resume feature. Boy, that might be the best thing Xbox fucking did this generation, but you don't hear that the Xbox version. So even though they are putting it everywhere else, the FTC brought that up, that even though Microsoft is signing contracts and making deals for these games to go everywhere, they have no moral obligation to make every other version as good as the Xbox version. You buy buy it on PlayStation and it's shitty, oh, well, let me go ahead and get it on Game Pass. Oh, it's just $20 a month. And before you know it, $360 a year. Or $240 if you're still at the $20 tier. Opinions, Trice? I know I
Yeah,
went on a little rant. There's a
yeah,
lot of shit
no.
going on.
I think I said all of what I had to say. It's just another game that's being associated with the fuck up of Microsoft. I feel like this Outer Worlds 2 share a lot of similarities with, and I know this is a Sony game, but Ghost of Yotei. It's not meeting the expectation from you being in development for 5 years. You had a first good product or a good game, and then we thought you would get better. We thought you would grow. We thought you would have some type of leap. Fans quote that there's really no difference. There's not enough growth. There's not enough differences from the first game. So this game really does like kind of come to Ghost of Yotei to Ghost of Tsushima. And that just proves that even Sony is acceptable to fuck ups too. They own, well, the Sucker Punch, but like they're in cahoots with Sucker Punch. But it's just funny how health of gaming is just in a very, very gray area. And I don't know how long we're gonna be in this gray area, but yeah, it's just unfortunate where gaming is right now, and the amount of time they take to make these games and for it still not to be good or even meet half the expectations. It's just really unfortunate for the person that spends the money on it. But hopefully, Outer Wars 2 can pull something out of their hat to, regain trust. The whole $80 scandal thing. Listen, hopefully they can regain some brand recognition that's positive instead of all this negative stuff. But let us know in the comments, are you enjoying playing Outer Wars 2? Do you think it's a good game? Or do you think this is just a situation where the expectations were just set too high for a sequel? Let us know in the comments below.
And that's it for this video of Are You Not Entertained podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell so you'll never miss our next hot take. Until next time, Are You Not Entertained?